Hi everyone, Julie is here. I'm glad to see my channel here for Diets of Russian. And I think today's video will be Irish national cuisine. So let's begin. Here is such appetizing dish we have with you today. Let's single out at once the main distinguishing feature of Irish cuisine. First of all, its trepidation of local residents to the products of their own production. And the second, the main feature of Irish cuisine, its high calorie content. There is a similar feature of the Irish with Belarusians, namely the love of potato. Although the potato appeared on the island at the end of 16th century. Before that, locals could rightly be considered meat eaters on 100%. True fresh meat went mainly to nobles and aristocracy. The poorer strata of the population were content with milk, butter, cheese, offal, which they usually ate with oats and barley. Milk mixed with cattle blood and butter, apparently. That's why in those days the black pudding, which boiled from cow's blood mixed with barley and other crops, firmly entered the Irish diet and is now indispensable ingredient of the traditional Irish breakfast.
But let's go back to the 16th century when potatoes began to be grown in Ireland, which took a firm place in the menu of the most Irish people, and to this day remains the basis of local cuisine. The potato was so important to the country that crop failures in the 1840s led to the Great Famine, the most tragic page in Irish history. As a result of the famine, about 1 million people died and at least 2 million Irish people went abroad. The population of the country, which until 1840 was approaching 8 million people, has not recovered so far.
You can learn more about who inhabited and inhabits Ireland today and the past watching this video. By the way, what about influence of ethnogroup, tribes? The Normans introduced the new species of animals, fish and birds to Irish cuisine, including domestic duck, mute swan, pike, white-breasted sheep, rabbits, pheasants, fallow deer and pigeons, while the Vikings popularized seafood.
Among the vegetables consumed by the Irish, both wild and cultivated, that were not known to all of us were watercress, chives, parsnips, and red seaweed. Among the berries, for me personally, the discovery of the tern.
Who tried? Write in the comments how they taste. Subsequently, in the 20th century, Irish cuisine began to experience competition due to the widespread use of Italian, Chinese, Indian cuisines. The country became more open and influenced by cuisine of other countries. Traditional Irish dishes began to transform, and today Irish cuisine primarily about fresh vegetables, fish, especially salmon and trout, lobsters, oysters, mussels, traditional soda bread, butter, milk, cheeses, and of course potatoes. Answering the question of why Irish cuisine is less popular today, nowadays rather than Italian, Chinese, I can say that is simply not in style of Instagram life. But at the same time, the products of Irish origin is very much appreciated. And now the most popular traditional Irish dishes.
Irish stew, a visual dish that doesn't have a single cooking technology. Many families have their own way of preparing treats. The simplest stew recipe is lamb, potatoes, carrots, onions, and greens. Coddle, The prehistory is that the thrifty Irish used whatever was in their kitchens, and sometimes a dish was made from the leftovers. Actually, as it happens with us, the recipe includes stewed sliced pork sausages, cheeses, potatoes and onions, and greens. All ingredients are cooked in a large pot of water or broth. The traditional version of the dish also has barley. It's best to try coddle in Dublin because this dish is sometimes called Dublin coddle for a reason. Calcannon. This is a traditional Irish dish made with potatoes and cabbage. Its creamy consistency is achieved by adding milk and butter or cream. Salt and pepper are the only seasonings. Calcannon itself often contains additional ingredients such as garlic, onions, green onions, and leeks, but many also like to add bacon for flavor. The dish is traditionally prepared for Halloween and is used in many Irish divination traditions. Usually, the dish is served either as a standalone or as an accompaniment to meat, often with a bit of butter in the middle. Boxty means bread for the poor. There are traditional Irish potato pancakes. Recipes vary across the country, but grated raw potatoes are common and are then served fried. Traditionally, potatoes are finely grated and mixed with buttermilk, flour, and eggs. Boxty is served with beef or other meat dishes or, as it's now fashionable, served as a flatbread stuffed with various types of meat and vegetables. Irish breakfast. Typical breakfast. It was originally invented as a way to prepare people for a hard day on the farm. The traditional set of products, several meat dishes, bacon, sausages, they are served with scrambled eggs, toast, beans. This national Irish dish causes ambiguous impressions for some tourists due to its impressive size. In addition, in the national cuisine, there is a wide variety of puddings, with the addition of turmeric, cheese, or herbs. And if you're vegetarian, you can skip the black and white sausage pudding, eggs, but hash brown, potatoes, and fried tomatoes will be to your liking, and also mushrooms. Each establishment cooks them a little differently. Sometimes they're grilled, sometimes in oil, but the best for my taste are stuffed with basil. A hearty breakfast is almost always served with Irish soda or brown bread, a cup of tea, and a glass of orange juice. And one more point deserves attention: fish and chips, which in Ireland are somewhat different from the British version.
I can even say that Ireland's calling card is fish and chips. There are many legends about the origin of this dish. One of them is very funny and carries a touch of marketing that you can do without these days. By the way, subscribe to my channel, mark the bell in order not to miss new release, and push the button if you like this video. The Italian ship sailed to America, but got out the ship early. On the Emerald Isle, he quickly realized that locals love potato. He added buttered fish to the fried tubers potato. Why fish and butter? Because it brightened out the taste of fish even if it was spoiled. Also, what you should pay attention to is
Dulce is a product that can be bought in health food stores. These are algae-rich in trace elements, vitamins, and proteins. They are dried in the sun, then ground and added to first courses to emphasize their taste. Seaweed is also fried or baked with cheese sauce and sometimes eaten without any processing. Irish mousse pudding. Chocolate and wheat is also another important ingredient in this traditional Irish dessert. The dish does not use dairy products, and the milk used in it is derived from coconut. The pudding has a subtle taste. It combines the flavors of vanilla, maple syrup, and cocoa. Butter. In Rochelle, of 99%, is now very rarely found on the shelves. The Irish are famous for their butter, and every restaurant will serve you a good chunk of butter, usually along with traditional Irish bread. Butter is also often used for frying and baking. Cow's milk, which has a unique sweet taste, and even if you don't drink milk in the first place, the experience of the drink is worth quenching your curiosity. In this farming country, free-range cows and eat much more naturally than the inhabitants of the island or anyone else, with rare exceptions.
And what would you recommend to try in Ireland? Write in the comments. Well, I said so much, but I got a lot of stuff to talk about. See you next thematic video.